The Supreme Court just ruled that Trump and Linda McMahon, WWE president turned Secretary of Education, can continue gutting the Department of Education. And I want to explain a little bit about this ruling, but more about this strategy, because it's something that Republicans have been very effective at for a very long time. The strategy is essentially ask forgiveness, not permission, right? So if Republicans in this case want something done, if Trump wants the Department of Education gone, now it is a department that was created by Congress, right? And so the argument being made by the lawyers on behalf of the Department of Education are saying only Congress, only like a law can dissolve the department. But Trump's like, well, I could fire half of its employees and slash its budget, and then effectively it becomes defunct. So right now the Trump administration got the ruling that they wanted, but it's not the Supreme Court's final ruling. I think this was just narrowly like, can they continue with the firing while the case makes its way up to the Supreme Court? And they said, yeah, you can. And so let's say it goes to the Supreme Court. One of two things will happen. They'll either say, yeah, you can do that, totally fine. Great, Trump gets what he wants. What if the Supreme Court says, no, you cannot do that? It's unconstitutional. The president can't effectively eliminate a whole department. Well, the damage is already done. Trump has already gotten what he wanted, right? That might take months or years for that decision to come down. And thousands of people have been fired. They've gone and found other jobs. The budget has been slashed. The cuts have been made. And so effectively, it doesn't matter whether it turned out to be, quote, unconstitutional or whatever. I think a prime example of this strategy would be about 10 years ago in my state of Texas. The state legislature passed a law that said all abortion providers had to have admitting privileges to an ER, which is medically unnecessary. But what it did is overnight, effectively, a huge portion of the abortion clinics and abortion providers across the state had to shut their doors because they were now no longer in compliance with the law. Now, they sued. It went all the way up to the Supreme Court. It took a few years. Eventually, the Supreme Court did rule that that was unconstitutional. They said, no, that violates like previous rulings and stuff related to abortion rights. But at that point, the damage had been done. Abortion clinics had been shut for years. A lot of these abortion providers had fled and moved to other states. Now the funding that would be required to like start them back up again was just too high. And so even though, again, the Texas legislature eventually got, reprimanded by the Supreme Court, I'm sure they wouldn't today. That ruling would be different with the court today. But it was like, it didn't matter. Abortion providers got cut across the state, and that was what they wanted. Basically, we're finding that the rule of law is very slow, and in the meantime, while justice is being worked out, an immense amount of damage can be done.